that's kind of cool to imagine how the textbooks might have been back then.
But even though it reminds me of Bridgerton, I don't know if I like it. It's early, but I don't feel very engaged yet. And I'm like, oh no.
I kind of feel like it's so far has just covered what the inside of the cover, the like summary is. Like it's already only covered things we kind of already know.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing too new has happened. I like the medical stuff because I kind of forgot how back then there like would make this big show of all these surgeries and things, and that's interesting to me. But I'm still waiting for like some more information so I can solve this mystery of those men in the graveyard.
Yeah. It's giving me Bridgerton and Mexican Gothic.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had read some Frankenstein, maybe, I've never read Frankenstein, but it's just because they're like trying to come up with something. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe Gothic is just not my thing.
Clues from Frankenstein. I never read it.
I haven't read that one yet either. But the frog bit at the beginning was kind of weird. I wasn't sure if that was like trying like a little too hard, but we'll see.
Well, apparently the author is kind of like wild on social media.
Oh.
I was with a friend when
wild
I bought.
In what way?
She just has really loud opinions about things. I forgot to look her up, but I went with a friend when I bought this book, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my friend and I like to make fun of her on social media, not like cyberbully her, but just like they follow up with her because she has like outlandish things going on."
The other title that she's written that it says and about the author is like she's the author of Choose Your Own Disaster and the White Man's Guide to White Male Writers of the Western Canon, which seems kind of like different.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem like she may have some different opinions and things like that. I'm curious about what happened with the event at the beginning. I might look her up too.
I got a new dog.
New dog?
No, it's not.
That's the same.
Yeah.
You guys are right.
No, he's gray. Ramon's black.
Sibling?
Oh.
Yeah, this is his brother.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute.
I was like, I feel like I've seen that dog. That's a dog.
He's more of a lap dog, though. He likes to be like held.
His name?
His name's Chico.
Oh,
cute.
We call him Chico Suave.
And she has a podcast about the dark side of monarchy.
I was listening to this last night, and I sort of fell asleep a little bit in the last chapter. So I need to go and like read it, listen to it again, because I feel like I missed a few things, but I feel like I'm not hooked yet. Like I also feel like it's maybe it's just me, but it feels like very like written for young people.
it is.
Because it like even more so than some of the other YA I've read, just because I want to see where it's going, but like so far I feel like it's like I don't know, like I'm waiting to be hooked. I'm waiting for like a little bit more detail, like a little bit, I don't know. I'm not like disliking it or anything. I'm just kind of like hoping, because I like the idea behind it. I think the idea behind it is really interesting. And I like the concept, but I'm waiting to, I don't know, like maybe it's just the way it's written. Like I feel like I'm not like in the minds of these characters yet. I feel like I'm like viewing it from a distance almost. I don't know. Like I don't feel sucked in yet, and I'm like wanting to be, but I'm not. Because sometimes that's like happens at the beginning of the book, you know, like you get sucked in a little later. So
We need to get to know the characters more, I think. I agree with that part.
Well, Neil Gaiman, like, you know how they have little blurbs from authors about the book? He's on the front cover. So that gave me high hopes for it. But I agree with you, Paul. It's like very, like the themes so far, very like things we've seen before as more mature readers, or like have read a lot of books. So there's like nothing newish or thrilling-ish yet.
I felt like the sibling dynamic was interesting too, like how the older brother and her got sick with the same disease, but she survived and the older brother didn't. I feel like that turned the parents or the mom off completely to her in a way. Whereas now she's like, just get married so you can be like okay, because otherwise you don't have a chance in life.
Yeah, she was savage with that.
Yeah.
You know what becomes of single women.
this is taking place in the 1700s, right?
I think so.
18th century.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh yeah, 1817. It says in the prologue.
Oh yeah.
Later, okay. So like not, I feel like that's like a little bit before Bridgerton. I think Bridgerton's like a decade later than that, maybe. I'm not sure.
I mentioned Bridgerton because I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, I loved it. It was good. I think I binged it in 2 days, and I shouldn't have, but I did. So because of that, I'm like, oh cool, look, I'm following this. Because at first I started reading it and I was like, I just wasn't connecting. Then I decided to do Audible because I was running out of time. And I was like, oh my gosh, the accent is so cool. But it made me want to watch more Bridgerton than actually like, you know, try and get to know these characters. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, you want to be a surgeon. And I mean, certain little facts here are kind of nice, but I don't know what it is. And maybe it's also like, I'm not a big fan of the 1800 kind of books. I'm just like, give me more modern, which I feel like is maybe what's getting me kind of like out of my comfort zone. And it's kind of weird, but we'll see.
I actually feel like the main character is throwing me off because she is so modern seeming. Like she doesn't think twice of just being a surgeon. And I'm like, where did you even get this? Like, you know, go you, but like, where did you get this idea in the early 1800s that you're going to be a surgeon? Like, you know how many like barriers women had back then? And I just like it's not that I don't think that like I'm not like I don't think that you could sell that in this time period, but it's almost like she doesn't seem to think, like she just goes for it. And I feel like she'd have to be more sneaky and she'd have to be more like smart about it, because no one is going to want her to do this. Like absolutely no person ever is going to want her to do this. She's going to have to like break so many barriers, and she's just kind of like, oh, you know, I just like sneak in. And like I feel like that's a very modern sensibility, which I don't really feel like in this time would be the sensibility, I guess.
I'm surprised the other doctor didn't rat her out, because he seems to be like close with the uncle too, especially with that weird tooth scene. Maybe he's just waiting, use that as like a bargaining chip or something, because maybe he thinks he can get something from her in the future. But I agree with that part. I felt like everything went too smooth, you know, and she didn't get caught or anything. So I was expecting like a big like confrontation scene with her being seen by somebody like, oh, you don't belong here, no women or something. But it went really smoothly, which was surprising to me.
A little convenient and, like you guys are saying, unrealistic of the times. Like maybe if it was more fantastical, like there was magic involved, or like an alternative reality to the 1800s. It would make more sense.
Even if it was
Maybe
like
her
in
dad.
1917, like it would still be like ton of barriers and really, really hard then too. But even like, I feel like then it could be like a possibility even, but like at this time period, it's like you literally like you don't even have the vote. You don't have anything. Like you don't.
Yeah.
You can't. They're like what would like the only professional women were like there. I don't even know if there were women in college. Like were there at this point?
Maybe very few, if anything.
Yeah.
She
They might
just
just
needs-
go straight into it, into like trade school.
Yeah. I feel like the only professional women at that time were like innkeepers or, you know,
Seamstress.
maybe some of them own land because they're nobility. But it's like so patriarchal at this point that like,
It depends the laws back then, right? Because I remember in other books, like from around this time period, it seems that even if there's multiple daughters, once the patriarch dies, it goes into like the next immediate male heir, no matter.
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of because I don't remember what time it's set in, but it seems like that. And
I think
there's
it's set
definitely-
around this time.
Yeah, it's reminding me a lot of it actually, in a way. Yeah. And who thinks that the doctors who are only getting like legal dead people to be their cadavers are actually following that rule? I feel like they're going to have something to do with the scene at the beginning.
Maybe,
And they're gonna want people with like certain who have died of certain causes and certain ages
Mm-hmm.
or gender.
it's interesting that back then surgeons were considered like lower class because I feel like a lot of the legitimate doctors were probably still doing stuff like leeches and like
Mhm.
stuff not based on like, because this is before like people knew about germs and but
Mhm.
like surgery is like a long-standing practice over generations that like, you know, I mean, I think, but like it's like rooted in more things that we do today versus some of the stuff that doctors were doing back then, which was like more in superstition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think a lot of things changed like with more medicines when those came out, like in the 20th century, 19th century.
The dad is also dead.
I was confused. I think he's like at war. I thought he was dead too. I was so confused, but he's at war, right? He's not
I
dead.
think he's watching Napoleon to make sure he doesn't escape or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's super weird though. The mom just keeps saying like when he dies.
But he's not dead. I think there was a line where they said that he was dead, but then they're like that he wasn't dead, and I got confused. And didn't they say that the mom was just staying in her room too?
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
is like, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's weird. I'm still trying to, you know, what's the mood, what's going on where, and it's just like mumbo jumbo. An introduction, typical introduction, I guess.
That
Not
part does remind me of
definitely.
Mexican Gothic though.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the cousin was in the room for a while.
I was thinking about the mom and her in mourning because do we know how long ago her brother passed?
Over a year.
Because I just feel like, especially back then, not only people but kids passed all the time. Like it was
Mhm.
just, and then isn't it like children also weren't like valued as much as they are now. So I don't know if it's also realistic for the mom to be in mourning for like that long, especially when you have two other kids.
Yeah.
I think I missed the brother dying because I'm like, wait, what? But I think it's the accent that completely threw me off.
He died of the
Well,
fever.
they like leaked it out slowly because first they're like, oh, she's in mourning.
Yeah.
And
which I
then
think
you
is-
find out the brother
Mhm.
died. And yeah, then they said the older brother and the sister, Hazel, had the fever, but Hazel survived and the brother did not.
Mhm.
What's the brother's name? Do they say?
George.
Yeah.
I think it was George. Yeah, because at first, since it didn't say who died right away, I thought it was the husband, and maybe that's why, like, it's like the mom's partner. Maybe she was in deeper mourning, and then I saw it was at the firstborn son.
Who's Cecilia?
I don't know.
No.
Is that like her maid in waiting or something?
She is flirting with her man,
Bernard.
Hazel's
yeah.
cousin.
At the theater.
Yeah, at the
Bernard.
theater.
You're right.
I think this is the part where I fell asleep.
Yeah.
I need to reread it. But listen.
This is
Yeah,
the
because
part
the
where-
mom and Hazel go to the show and they're
Mhm.
sitting like across from Bernard, who's sitting with Cecilia, who's I think a twin, but she's a twin brother. And
Yeah,
then Hazel thinks she's like an idiot
Oh.
and has no personality, but her and Bernard are like flirting and laughing.
I don't think Bernard and Hazel are gonna be it. It's gonna be Jack. Is that his name? Jack?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so for sure.
Yeah, which I feel like it was a little obvious, but maybe she'll put in a twist. I doubt it though.
It's
But
gonna
that
be
would
interesting.
it would be crazy for her to give up her like social status, but I guess if he supports her going to school, it'd be okay.
So bold that she's like, I'm gonna be a surgeon. I'm gonna be a surgeon. She's gonna be like, I'm gonna be a surgeon with this man. I think.
Well,
I feel like
doesn't
that's
the
the
book
only way.
What was that?
It's if
Yeah,
the only way she's gonna become a surgeon is if she gives up her higher class
Yep.
lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and on the book, didn't it say like she has to get her own bodies?
Oh,
So
that's
he
right.
probably helps her.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe they
Yeah.
that's probably when
maybe
it will
they
get more
fall in
interesting.
I hope that means that this will like move forward in time, and like maybe it will be at the point where she's like in training or something, or I don't know, like she won't just be like 16, she'll be a little older, hopefully. I don't know.
I think too, she's going to have to probably get in a fight with her mom or something because her mom's going to want to take her to the season and get dressed up and find a husband, even if it's not Bernard. And she's going to be like, no, I'm not going to go. So definitely like teenage angst stuff. So I'm wondering like if the mom will just say like, I tried my best already, which is kind of what she said already after the play, I think. And so, make your own way.
He kind of reminds me of what was the girl's name from Firekeeper's Daughter?
Oh, what was her name?
Dawn.
Mhm.
Oh, you got something like that.
Anyway,
I just realized that's another like it was the brother,
yeah.
Oh,
like the one we just read.
Mm-hmm.
Another
Was
one where the
Donis.
brother was the one all along.
It's always the brother.
Brother
oh my
son.
gosh. I just finished rereading and finishing Firekeeper's Daughter because I had it on my shelf and I realized, wait a minute, I never finished this one. So you're right. Both characters were in the medical fields or wanting to go into the medical fields.
Donis.
Donis, yeah.
Donis.
Yeah.
She's not like other girls.
Well, this girl's also not like other girls.
No, she's
I thought it was funny that she said Cecilia probably doesn't even know how to read because she's like, telling her mom. That was really funny.
And her mom's like, stop reading. She doesn't say stop, but she's kind of like, that's not going to serve you.
Like she says something like, oh, Bernard's never going to want somebody who has ink on her hands or something.
Yeah.
and all these people. The doctor noticed the ink. I highly doubt that.
Who was it that noticed? Was it the, what's his name? The guy who gets the bodies? Noticed like she had blood on her pinky finger. That was weird.
That, yeah.
That was, yeah, it's kind of dramatic. I thought Jack was going to show up in the theater because the book said that he worked in the theater too. So I thought they were going to have like an encounter, kind of similar to how Lily and Atlas met at the, whatchamacallit, at the restaurant. And it was unexpected, but Jack didn't show up at that time. But maybe he works more backstage. Or maybe he wasn't there at that theater.
Maybe he saw her. Maybe that's the next chapter. He saw her, but he didn't approach.
Yeah, something like that. He's going to figure out more of like her background. And I wonder how the other doctor is going to come into play. I feel like he's going to be like a rival or possibly a villain. Dr. Singer, I think it was.
Was he the one that had the magic potion thing?
That was Beecham,
which guy
I
was
think.
that? Yeah,
Beecham.
I feel like maybe that's a scam,
Maybe.
or the fact that she's recognized the smell is going to play into something, or she'll recreate it maybe, or it's a scam. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Beecham's wildflowers, mold, and death. What if he's the one creating that fever?
Just to sell his concoction.
That reminds me of Mexican Gothic too.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if that guy like survived that amputation.
That's true. It
Or
didn't
did
say.
he even survive being put to sleep like that? He could have died.
Yeah.
Was that little potion kind of like anesthesia? Is that what they were saying, kind of going with? Or I'm kind
I
of
think it
confused.
was
Yeah, I think so.
ether or
Wait.
something like that. Ether.
Huh.
Well, at that
Something
time,
to
wouldn't they
knock him
have to
out.
give them like an opioid type thing, like a what's it called, like opium or laudanum, or what's it called, like one of
Yeah, I
those
think
things.
opium.
I think they did back then.
Yeah, like back then. You know why I'm thinking of it? Because this is so nerdy, in Game of Thrones, they're like, have some milk of the poppy, and that's like opioids. So like, didn't they have something like that?
Probably. They talked about it in that Empire of Pain also.
Yeah, like opioids have been used for
The
many
poppy.
years.
Started reading that book.
You started reading Game of Thrones?
Not the Game of Thrones, although I want to read those too, but the other one about the opioid crisis that Paula recommended.
I'm still
Yeah, I
not done.
started it too. It goes kind of nicely with this because they're both like medical. But
It's very interesting so far. I've been liking it.
It's been my side book for like 3 months.
It's long.
a
It
long
says
time.
average time 13 hours to read.
Yeah.
I've had
what? It's way more than 13 hours.
Yeah. it's
Um,
long.
what is the dad like? Because like I said, I'm pretty lost. And I didn't know if he was dead or where he was at, and the fact that there's these books of Beecham's grandfather or I assume that the dad was somehow related in the medical field, but maybe not.
I think he might just have them, maybe because I feel back then having libraries was like a symbol of status. So maybe he happened to have them. And that's what she's referring to, because I know she said that they were like the older versions, right? And she would want to have the newer versions eventually. But we don't know too much about the dad so far that I saw anyways. And I think the original Dr. Beecham, was he from Edinburgh? I think maybe that's why the dad might have the books too.
I like how they say Edinburgh.
Oh,
Like-
Edinburgh.
I think it's
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Borough, right?
Is how you say it. Yeah,
Like-
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
I could be wrong.
It's
I
interesting.
think that's how you say it.
It reminds me of the Edinburgh, like the depression screening thing. And I was like, am I saying that wrong then? Because it's Edinburgh. I don't know.
Well, that's the town
Mm-hmm.
J.K. Rowling started writing Harry
Oh.
Potter
Mm.
in a little cafe called the Red Elephant or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's like, isn't she Scottish also? Or
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense. I'm trying to find the page where it said more about the doctor and where he lived and things like that.
The William Beecham,
Yeah.
page 43.
44?
43.
43, thank you. Oh yeah, that's the one. President and founder of Royal Edinburgh Anatomist Society. So I feel like if he was a really famous author from that town, maybe that's why the dad had the books too. And then I thought on that page it was interesting how in the end, his later years, Beecham became reclusive and studying the occult and alchemy. So maybe they're trying, maybe he and now his grandson are trying to kind of like play God with all this stuff and just see like what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the alchemy, that's what Nicholas Flamel used, right, when he was making the Sorcerer's Stone, Katie?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of made me think of another nerd alert.
Yes.
Like the secret to everlasting life and whatnot.
Something that's a little weird sidebar, but they have a male narrator in the Audible thing to just read
That section.
the stuff from the book, but doesn't do like the chapters where it's Jack. So it's like, why did they even need that? Why not just have the woman read the book too?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't really listen. Like, I have the book, like I said. So when I heard that guy, I was like, what is he even saying? Once again, he still has that accent. So then I read it and I was like, oh, that's not what I understood at all. And I was like, I understand this one better than when I read it.
Yeah.
Although it's okay. I realize I understand it better when it's faster, which is weird because I feel like you wouldn't be able to. It'd be like the opposite. You would have to slow it down. I don't know.
Maybe they chose a guy because back then the books were mostly written by men and just to like highlight that lack of women representation. I don't know.
And I was thinking. Oh, and what about the creepy doctor who she bumped into there?
I
Like
think
the
of the
nanny
doctor from
lecture.
Nightmare Before Christmas. When I think of that doctor for some reason, you know, he had like the big bulbous head and like the little black gloves.
And he's like her height.
Mhm.
Tiny. Yeah, he was creepy.
He doesn't give me good vibes.
Mm-mm.
He gives me pervert, and I don't want to say like this, but
No, I agree.
I
I
don't know.
was thinking, like, what if because he's friends with the uncle, if Bernard doesn't work out, like maybe that doctor will try to marry her just for her status and money, and then he can continue doing like his nefarious doctor stuff. That's a little extreme, but I can see it happening.
But I wonder if it's just the way the male read that part, because it was
Mhm.
like, and I'm like, ew, like I just wanted to skip that part.
Yeah,
Like cringy.
and like maybe that's why he didn't snitch on her for being there at the anatomy spectacle. I don't know.
That whole tooth thing is not gonna work though, right?
That was really gross.
I don't think
Along
so.
with the frog, I'm like, okay, maybe this was too much. Ay.
That
the
poor
leg
like
thing.
homeless man.
And the leg being chopped off too. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can't read these graphic cues anymore. I don't know.
It was like misery, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe people will start going missing now that they have that ether chloroform mixture, and they're gonna take like the bodies they truly want to study.
Yeah, like the fresh bodies, not a week old.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Ugh. That's not good. It's not like they had any preservatives back then.
Mhm.
They preserved the pharaohs, but I don't think that made it to this area of the world at this time.
No, and those were all in individual little Canopic jars. But that book, Judith, that we talked about a long time ago, that book's reminding me of this book too, even though they're very different. The one with the foot and the toe with the tag on the cover about what happens to dead bodies. I forget what it's called.
I think it's called Stiff.
Oh, that's what it is.
I
Thank
still
you.
haven't read it.
Oh, it's good.
My roommate friend from high school, Karina knows her, Hannah, wanted to be an embalmer or my freshman year of college. And like we had the same speech teacher, just different times. And she did a whole speech on embalming. So that was interesting.
Did she do it? Did
No,
she become
she is a RN nurse though. So
that? Okay. Yeah,
He's like, never mind.
that's weird. That's a weird thing to want to do, but
she was not. She was a little weird.
I think
A
my
little dark.
sister did that.
yeah, it's a little dark. It's honorable though. You're trying to like do that for the family, you know.
Mhm.
I could imagine Hannah giving the speech.
I think she practiced on me, not embalming, but the speech.
Oh my gosh.
And you can do my makeup and put like what
Yeah.
did they probably put like wax. Put wax.
Want a little bit of a spray tan, please.
Could do like airbrush makeup.
Mhm. Well, did you guys watch Haunting on Hill House?
Yeah.
I did some of
No.
that.
I couldn't get into it. Darlene was into it. And she's like,
I liked
I don't
that.
think
I
scary.
liked Bly Manor too, but Hill
Yeah.
House was better, I think.
The other one they did, Midnight Mass, was not good.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. That has less of the cast. Same
Yeah.
creator though.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone think the younger brother will have like a big role in the book?
Maybe his
Maybe as
body.
a tattler.
I don't know how I feel about the brother.
Yeah.
I think he's spoiled.
Yeah.
He's the typical, youngest child.
What does happen if he dies then? Does she inherit everything?
I
I
don't
don't think
so.
she can.
Maybe it would go to Bernard because he's the cousin, maybe?
Probably.
Another Bridgerton example, because in Bridgerton, when the Featherington, well, I don't want to spoil it, but
But yes.
It's okay.
yeah, because they
Remember
have
there's
to
a
bring in a
cousin.
male family member.
Yeah. That was so weird. Oh my gosh. And then the dot. Yeah, no. I'm gonna go into it. Schwartz.
At the beginning, the people who took Davy, do you think it was Beecham and like some henchmen maybe trying to get fresh bodies as well? Because they want to put on the class, right? To make money. So I'm just wondering, like, in a normal time in Edinburgh, like how many dead bodies are really cranked out by hangings and just possible natural deaths? I feel like it wouldn't be enough.
Well, it's a pretty big city, so that might be enough. Did I misunderstand this? But at the prologue, they like
Mhm.
injected Jack with something, right? Or they took his blood? What did they do?
took
Did
his
they take
blood.
his blood?
I think they cut him and
They
I
dropped
feel like
something
it
into
was
his.
one drop. It
Mm-hmm.
was like one drop and then it changed color and I was like,
Because he said, I've never gotten sick. I've been doing this work for years and I've never gotten sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Oh,
wonder
right.
if that has something to do with what happened to him.
Maybe they're going to be looking in the future for the cure to the Roman fever or something, because there's references to that in the nonfiction part of the book. But yeah, it says he was too frightened to scream. They pulled out a vial filled with something purple and viscous. The man uncorked the vial, extended his arm. The man with the hat shook his knife over the vial until a single drop of Davy's blood fell into liquid within. Then it became dark and changed to golden yellow.
Was that Jack or someone else?
It's somebody called Davy.
Oh, I thought it was Jack.
Oh,
Whoops.
It could be.
is that related to alchemy, like we saw with the other Beecham guy, the first one?
you're right, that's not Jack.
It's Davy and Monroe. What was it?
Davian Monroe.
Yeah, they were other
So it's
resin
not the
receptionists.
same guy. I thought it was the same
Mm.
guy.
Me too.
Ah.
When Jack appeared, I was like, oh my gosh, it was the guy in the.
Yeah.
They're gonna, help each other out and fall in love.
Oh,
My.
wow. Whoops.
Maybe Jack will notice they go missing and tell Hazel or something.
Do they ever bring up Monroe again? No, huh?
Not yet.
He ran off. That could be Jack's last name.
Oh, could be.
Mm.
Let me see if it describes him more in the prologue.
Because it does not sound like a first name of a.
Maybe Davies changed his name.
Could be.
I feel like that could be true. One, he didn't say who he was to her. And I know obviously he's trying to be like discreet and be like, oh, I let you through, so he doesn't want her to know. So then in case, let's say she gets in trouble or something and then it's his name, but I don't think it's that reason. I think maybe they are trying to hide who Jack really is. What if he has some special power? That's why he doesn't get sick. And these three men know that. And that's why they wanted his blood.
I think it might be something like that because they want to try to be like groundbreaking, So I don't know.
I just went from maybe it's vampires. Gothic-y is vampires.
That would be very gothic, yeah.
Although Mexican Gothic, we didn't have vampires, so never mind. Right? No, we didn't.
We thought they might be though, in a way.
Yeah,
They were
that's why I was like,
sucking the
oh, we
lifeblood.
did, but it wasn't.
In a way, yeah.
Our next section is 9 to 18.
1918, not 19.
Yeah, not 19.
Got it.
Oh, I just
Hopefully next section we have more to discuss because this was just kind of intro.
yeah. I just saw Jack's last name. It's not Monroe or Davy.
Oh.
I wonder if he knows them.
The boys in the beginning, huh?
I totally thought it was Jack at the beginning too.
Good eye to whoever said that's not Jack. You're right. You're right, Katie.
Yeah, I totally did not
Well,
catch that.
now they've introduced 3 grave diggers. So it's a
Mhm.
little. And only one
Encounter with her.
female surgeon. 3 male grave diggers and 1 surgeon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how their paths continue to intertwine. I think it could go a lot of different ways with what we know so far.
Yeah.
I hope that Hazel, is that her name? Hazel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope she encounters some more obstacles or some more, I don't know, like
And no more
some
frogs.
yeah, or
Makes
I
her
don't know.
more real.
Mhm.
Just seems like she's just doing
Waltzing through it.
whatever.
I'm kind of worried it's 'cause she's going to abandon this surgeon thing because she's going to try to get into these lectures. She's going to work with Jack on digging up graves. And then they're going to encounter like this underground cult that they need to defeat.
Mm.
And it's just going to be about that.
Mm.
And we're
Mhm.
not gonna get any of the surgery stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It could go that way. Mm.
We'll see. I want to open, but I will not open the book because then I'm gonna look at stuff and let's not get spoilers.
Oh, the author's cats are named Eddie and Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
That's funny.
Don't say every time.
Is that from her Instagram?
It's on the back cover, inside back cover of the book.
Oh.
In the author bio.
I just looked at her Instagram and she mostly posts food.
And she
What?
She mostly posts food.
Mm.
Like food that she cooks or food that
No,
she
like
goes
just
and
like
eats?
eats, like ice cream, like a biscuit sandwich.
She's
Like,
young.
she's
How old is
cute.
she?
She's like,
She's 29.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
she's a youngin.
Oh no. Reading a book with someone younger than me. What have I done with my life?
Oh, that's cute. She's like my favorite secret detail of the Anatomy love story hardcover. The heart. It's cute. That is my favorite part. I just realized that the inside actually has a quote from Frankenstein.
It does.
I
Hmm.
didn't even, maybe that's why I thought of Frankenstein without even reading. I've never read it. So I was like, oh, Frankenstein.
Would you like to know why I'm booty tickled? This is my cover. I didn't get the heart.
Hmm.
what?
That's cool.
Thank you for trying to make me feel better, Karina.
I like that. I mean, I love this one. But
Yeah,
cool.
Maybe it's like a special edition.
What edition did you get?
Barnes and Nobles.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think it's smaller too.
Well, my favorite color is black, so
Mhm.
Wider or something?
It's
Cool.
I feel like it's more condensed,
mhm.
but I got over my inks. But I was a little booty tickled at first.
I love that booty tickle.
Yeah, it's like that hurt, but you're not like it's not too deep. It's just a little-
I like it.
What?
Did you guys get yours on Amazon?
I got mine in the giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Where did I get mine from? I think it was Amazon. Yeah. There's an actual.
Damn, I just got the Kindle edition. There's nothing special on it.
It took me a minute to realize that I just saw the heart. I didn't realize at first that it's a girl in her dress.
Yeah.
Like
Either.
it took me like a long time to realize that.
I wonder if that's the dress she's wearing to the theater too, because her mom wanted her to wear the green one, and then she ends up like wearing the red one, the old red one instead.
It is supposed to be.
Well, Katie, yours reminds me of like the Death Eaters, so I think it's kind of cool in that way too.
Yeah, it's
With, like,
edgy.
black and silver. Mm-hmm.
My scalpel. And I don't know, I guess, are those scissors or
Forceps?
Incisors? Oh,
Right.
forceps, yeah.
Maybe I don't
Lips,
know.
incisors, or teeth.
it doesn't have the the little blades meet in the middle.
Cora.
It reminds
I
me.
wonder, like, did they even have scalpels back then? Really?
That's what I was thinking because I know the Civil War is like a little bit further ahead and in the United States, but at the time, like medical technology was not advanced enough compared to like the weapons and destruction that shrapnel could cause. So that's why in the Civil War, a lot of people got their limbs amputated from the soldiers, but they didn't have that either. So sometimes they would just have to like take a swig of alcohol and that was it. But because of like the conditions in the battlefields, a lot of them would die from infection after because they weren't the cleanest and they weren't using like the best tools.
Yeah, they didn't know about germs.
Mm-hmm. Gross.
Judith, I just saw the action figure that you showed on Instagram. It came with a tiny bone saw and scalpel, but she has blood scattered all over her wedding dress.
Yeah. Oh, wedding?
It looks like a wedding dress.
Mm.
Her
didn't-
wedding
Like it has
Cubanar.
lace and like, you know, she has pearls. So
I
it's,
just
like,
see the blood
formal.
little spots everywhere, and I'm like, this is interesting. I don't know what to
Hmm.
Her Instagram is cute. I'm still looking at it.
Yeah, me too. That biscuit sandwich looked good.
I'm gonna find her Instagram now.
She is like really cute.
And I like that. I'm not saying that authors don't do this, but I think Pauline does reviews on Good, and she's putting like pictures of other books, like the Detransition Baby one was on there. Was that what it was?
Mhm.
The
Oh,
beautiful
yeah,
World
I
of
still
Art.
haven't read that.
I think I saw the one I'm still reading.
Oh yeah, she has a nice aesthetic on her Instagram.
The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Mm.
It's kind of nice to see authors actually put out other books. The same way I like to see musicians support other musicians and be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I love this song, you know, instead of just like you don't hear from them.
Some authors can be so nice. I know when I went to Colorado, there's an author called Kali Fajardo Anstein, and she wrote this book called Sabrina and Corina, and I got it because it's the first time I ever saw like my name in a book, let alone in the title. And it's like a series of 4 short stories. And in the short story with Sabrina and Corina, Corina is a prostitute, so I thought that was wildly funny. But I like it because she writes about like the struggles faced by like women of color in Colorado. And so when I went to Colorado, she was having an author talk at the Denver Public Library, and I actually got to go and meet her, and she signed my book. So like in talking to her, I was like, whoa, she's really, really nice. And I follow her on Instagram, and she's releasing a new book in June, so I might pitch it for the June read. It was nice.
Well, let's see where this one takes us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, good stuff, because.
Take us to the graveyard.
Okay, well, I will see you all next week, 8:30 up to 18. Don't read 19.
Don't read it.
Sounds good. All right. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Nice.
Good night.